Having narrowly escaped the clutches of the cursed Durst Manor, our party pauses for a moment to inspect a curious basket which awaited them upon their return to the old Zvolch road. Within, a bottle of fine red wine, a wedge of cheese, 3 hard biscuits, and a handwritten note which reads, "Welcome to Barovia." Signed, Count Strahd von Zarovich. As the mists finally relent, a quaint valley stretches out before you. Barren fields crisscross the open land. Among them, dark farmhouses can be seen squatting amidst the low-lying mist which yet remains. Bordering the valley to the north, the impenetrable towering pines of the Zvolch wood. To the south, a lazy river runs from the east. To the west, and barely recognizable from this distance, the hint of a modest settlement can be made out.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, there we go. See it.
Oh, look at our party.
The paladin looks around at each of you in silence.
Well, it looks like that whoever this Lord Strahd is knows that we're here.
And he brings us gifts.
Yes, well, I find it odd that someone would leave a gift after knowingly sending someone into a cursed house, or without helping, I should say.
I pick up the wine and examine it.
Oh, yes, the wine, of course. Just a moment, please. I actually forgot to look that up.
While you're doing that, I have an interrupt.
Oh, is it down?
No.
Oh, okay. Go ahead and speak while I'm looking up for what I'm looking for, unless you need me.
So I'm going to go over to Tarman. And, Torman.
Hey.
Is there something moving in your bag?
Ah, yes.
Jill?
Yeah. Tommen got a doggy from the house back there.
Is it still in your bag?
Well, might as well check. I'm sure it's fine. It was quite traumatized. I would not be upset if it slept all day long.
You're going to take a
open
look?
my bag. Yeah, sure, I'll open my bag.
Yeah. You see Lancelot's in there. He's looking rather disheveled for the run, and he looks up at you, and he lets out a little bit of a whimper.
I think I had some jerky in there earlier.
It's gone now.
Oh, good.
You have some jerky in there to be.
Oh, no.
Oh, good, my
Aw.
jerky. Well, at the very least, you might want to travel with the party on foot for a little while. I would hate for jerky to become digested jerky, if you know what I mean. And I'm gonna set the dog on the ground.
All right, yeah. He kind of he waddles on over to the basket. He starts smelling it, and he tries to start rooting around inside of it.
No, I'm gonna stop him.
Oh, okay, yeah. He kind of snarls at you a little bit, but then heals.
And I do I have rope in my bag? Let us find out.
I Klug wander over to the basket and fish out a biscuit.
Yeah, for sure.
And I eat it.
Yeah, sure.
I'm still waiting on that wine description.
Yeah, it's there's a fucking like tiny little piece of lore buried around in here somewhere. You can. You know what I'll do for now is I'll just tell you that it's of a fine vintage, and then I will get you a name for it as soon as I find it.
Fine vintage.
I'm not gonna fuck around with it anymore right now, though.
Has anybody any rope? This dog seems wily. We might need to tie it up.
Oh, don't tie up the poor little thing too hard. You're talking about around its collar, of course.
Of course.
Yes. You
I
you may have my length of hemp rope.
Excellent. And I take a section of it and make about a 30-foot lead there.
All right. Yeah. This one will, he'll nose around. He'll pee. He'll take a shit. He seems to be getting comfortable.
Right on.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Well, I suppose that we must carry on to Barovia.
What kind of name is Barovia?
Hmm.
Couldn't it have been called something more beautifully?
Most likely, but that's what they settled on.
I will not accept that name.
All right, you can discuss with the locals about the name when they get there. I just want to get there, get out of this. I'll look around, open wilderness.
Yeah, so you can see you haven't quite cleared the mouth of the forest yet, but you can see that the valley it dips down, and you can see there's some farmland down there, and then just that settlement just barely visible at the edge of the mists.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
traveling this way.
Yes,
Westward.
Most excellent.
I suppose
Westward
we should...
along the road. You continue?
Yes.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
continue.
All right, you travel not for long before you, Tormin, catch the scent of death on the air.
There's bodies up ahead.
How do you mean?
Can't you smell it?
I'll take a whiff.
The air is thick with the human blood. Or is it human blood?
Just decay.
Just decay. It's thick with decay.
Everybody stay
Can I
cautious.
tell what kind of decay?
Like something died. You kind of have a directional idea of where the smell is coming
Which
from.
direction?
And, it's to the south, just a little ways.
Just south of us, and I'll start that direction.
All right. The foul scent leads you to a human corpse, half buried in the underbrush, about 15 feet from the road.
I'll
The young
follow
man
him.
appears. Oh, you betcha.
Sorry.
The young man appears to be a commoner. His muddy clothes are torn and raked with claw marks. Crows have been at the body, which is surrounded by the paw prints. The man has obviously been dead for several days. A messenger's satchel is bound to his belt. A few silver coins spill from the torn leather.
I'll bend down and I'll retrieve the satchel and the silver and kind of pick it up and look at it and I'll say, someone's been missing this. This poor lad looks like a courier.
I'm gonna search the body.
Wonderful, yeah. You find just like a pocket knife type knife sheathed on it's a boot knife. You find just plain torn up clothing and nothing else of value or interest.
In a rare moment of insight, Klug says, if I'd killed this person, I would have taken all that stuff. Why leave it?
Indeed.
I'll point
How
to
did
the,
he die?
I'll point
I
to
want
the
to examine
claw
the
mark.
wounds.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead and make a medicine check or survival. One of the two.
I want to take a look at the footprints and the tracks on the ground.
Mm-hmm. Survival for you.
17, baby.
17. This man appears to have been mauled to death.
A wild
13
beast.
on those tracks.
Survival 13. Large paw prints in the dirt around, bits of dark fur left snagged on thorny bushes.
Like how big of a large paw print?
Like larger than any dog should be, but not like not huge, you know, just like maybe twice the size of a large dog's paw print.
Well, between the paw prints and the obvious mauling here, I'd say there was a wild beast in the area, something dangerous. Anybody have expertise in beasts?
I do not.
No.
I don't know of the animals in this area. All I know is that we must stay sharp, stay
Perhaps
focused.
the locals where we're headed know something of the matter.
It's true.
Maybe they've had trouble with this beast in the past. Perhaps it's hunted human flesh before.
Yes.
Xavier holds his mirror up, looking at himself, and he looks back and retorts with, "Well, maybe he's one of the locals lying on the ground."
I'm gonna pick up the body, if possible,
Yeah.
and try to like use the loose clothing to like keep it kind of together if it's not all together.
Yeah, absolutely. You start to hear the baying of wolves in the distance, quite far off.
What are you suggesting, Alkir?
Well, I say
we'll
we-
ask this guy.
I suggest that we make haste towards that settlement over there. And I'll point in
Yes,
their direction.
we should bring the body with us. We should
Absolutely.
give
Absolutely.
it a chance at a proper funeral.
I agree. And I'll glance into the satchel. What's in the satchel?
Yeah. So inside of the satchel, there is a sealed envelope and a rolled up bit of parchment that's managed to fall in halfway into the blood and gore, and so it's half drenched with blood.
Okay. And I'll read the I'll take the parchment out and see if I can read it.
Okay, so you're gonna unfurl. You recognize it as soon as you start to get it open. You recognize it to be a map.
Yeah, I'll take a look at the map.
Betcha.
Looks like a map of Barovia here.
You can hit the little
Magnifying
magnifying
glass,
glass to get the full picture. And once you've hit the magnifying glass, you can then right click on it and save it if you want to pull it down on your desktop.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Anyhow.
I will I'll find us on the map. Looks like just ahead is the village of Barovia. We should make haste. And I'll put the map away, and I'll kind of assist Tormund, Tommen if he needs it. Otherwise, we'll just start making haste towards the what I suspect to be village of Barovia.
Okay. And the other document you found within, will you leave that unmolested?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know there was another one. I will look at the other document.
Yeah, so there is a letter. It is sealed with a bee. Like the symbol of a bee is what's in the wax seal on that.
Could be of the Burgermaster of Barovia.
We're talking about the letter B or the insect?
The letter, sir. Thank you. That's a good clarification.
I believe that. I have a suspicion. There's no crest. It's just B.
It's just bee. Yeah, that's the crest. Like it's a
Okay.
it's a bee with some florets or whatever around it. Yeah.
This may be an official.
It wouldn't have been the Burgomaster because wasn't he the windmill?
No, that was in the house.
The
Oh,
windmill
okay.
was of the house. Yes.
Okay.
But we can look at it later. Let us proceed. Actually, while we're proceeding, I'll open the letter. Let's go
I
for
have
it.
the
YOLO.
seal of the windmill that I found and took with me.
You do, indeed.
Mm-hmm.
So as you all set forth now, heading down into the valley, small valley to which you are roaming, the forlorn, dark farmhouses just kind of stand up, sullenly slumping along sides of the road. The ruined fields, completely barren and devoid of any life or anyone. The scarecrows that litter them, torn to shreds and defiled. There's not even a crow left. And you, as you march forward, break the seal and read. Hail to thee of might and valor. I, the burgomaster of Barovia, send you honor with despair. My adopted daughter, the fair Irina Koliana, has been these past nights bitten by a vampire. For over 400 years, this creature has drained the lifeblood of my people. Now my dear Irina languishes and dies from an unholy wound caused by this vile beast. He has become too powerful to conquer. So I say to you, give us up for dead and encircle this land with the symbols of good. Let holy men call upon their power, that the devil may be contained within the walls of weeping Barovia. Leave our sorrows to our graves, and save the world from this evil fate of ours. There is much wealth entrapped in this community. Return for your reward after we are all departed for a better life. Sorry, I stumbled on that last bit.
You're good.
It is signed by Kolyan Indirovich.
The burgomaster. Well, I've got good news and bad news. The good news is this is from the burgomaster. Bad news is we're dealing with a vampire. Oh.
This body didn't look like it was hit by a vampire.
No.
There would have been teeth bites on the neck.
But he calls upon everybody to encircle the land with holy symbols and lay waste to it. We must hurry. And I'll pick up my pace towards Barovia, the village of Barovia.
All right. You betcha. So just for your all's sake, the ruler will measure accurately in miles.
Oh, wow.
So it's about a quarter day's march.
5 miles. Holy crap.
Quarter day's march to the village of Barovia. You will reach there in late afternoon. Should you go unmolested. Do you all wish to continue on to Barovia now?
Yes, I do.
To the village of Barovia.
Yep.
Yeah, I do.
I can do this.
I'm down. If I can have some more biscuits.
I'm sure you can fight for the biscuits amongst yourselves.
I will
To your heart's content.
I will give you another biscuit. Here you are.
I miss the biscuits.
I look incredibly happy and I walk away munching probably a little too small bites than is healthy.
I will hand the biscuits to you. They're Casey, I'm blanking on your character's name. Alkier. I'm sorry. Alkier. I'll hand the whole basket to you. There you are.
Thank goodness, I've been starving. Thank you so much.
And I'll just keep walking with a faster pace. We must take heed and make haste towards the village.
Hold up so I can at least get up. I'll eat later.
Haven't you heard of eating and walking?
Can we march on?
We march on.
Okay, wonderful. Go ahead and roll me a d20. Somebody do the d20 for me, please.
Who's feeling lucky?
Okay,
I
awesome.
can do it.
All right. The hours pass in gloomy anticipation as you make your way towards the the village of Barovia along the old Zvolch Road.
What a cool.
And as you approach, tall shapes loom out of the dense fog that surrounds everything. The muddy ground underfoot gives way to slick, wet cobblestones. The tall shapes become recognizable as village dwellings. The windows of each house stare out from pools of blackness. No sound cuts the silence except for mournful sobbing that echoes through the streets from a distance. Tormund, your keen perception comes to rest on a raven which studies the party from atop a nearby dwelling. I'm not hearing anything here, are we?
I hear
crickets.
It's very, very, very faint.
It's beautifully ambianced.
Oh no, not the ambience. I mean, I'm not hearing anything from you guys. Did everybody hear
I'm
me?
sorry. Yes, yes.
Correctly?
I will start stepping towards. Where do I hear the sobbing coming from? I'm sorry. I thought there was more after you changed the scene.
It was to Tormund, I think.
No. Yeah. So the sobbing is coming from the west.
Okay. I will start heading in towards the west cautiously, my hand on my sword hilt, ready to draw it at a moment's notice.
All right. Cool. Anything else from anybody else?
Let's roll a perception check, someone.
Hey, dirty bird.
I'll do it.
Get out.
What's that?
Throw a
Tormund?
rock at the raven.
Okay. You throw a rock at the raven, and it caws defiantly as your rock comes up short. Unless you want to make an attack roll here.
Yeah, why not? Let's do
Are
it.
you really?
All right. We're gonna get killed by. We're going to get killed by a damn raven.
I shall befriend it.
It's a shot put.
Oh my
Shot.
God.
What? Why are you killing?
Oh my god!
I don't like ravens.
All right.
They signal death.
All right. Yeah. So you hit the raven with a rock, and it lets out a squawk of protests and flies off in a flurry to the west. But as it does so, one of its wing feathers falls, and as it drifts down,
I reach out and catch it.
you reach out and catch it, and there's something odd about it. You bring it up to your face, and there, clear as day, it looks as if the tip of the feather has been dyed.
I'm gonna rub it.
Yeah. The dye is set and doesn't come free on your finger.
What's that you
I'm
got
gonna
there, Tommen?
Study the shape of the feather and see if I can determine if I can the type of bird it is.
Yeah, go ahead and roll nature.
Yeah. It's about right.
Nature 11. Looks like a raven to you.
Well, I've
Big
got a
crow.
very strange raven's feather, and it's been tampered with, but it is indeed a raven feather.
You fool! Stop throwing stones at the wildlife. You don't know if that's an actual raven.
I will take that feather if you don't mind.
Add it to your angel feather.
You seem to like feathers, and I'll hand it over.
Hey, you like these things? Here you go. I'll draw in close to Tommen and be like, Tommen, you must understand. There's more than just ravens watching us. I can feel it. Be careful as we walk through these buildings, and I'll
Better not watching us.
I'll continue on.
Better the ravens go. I don't like them. Dirty ravens.
I'll continue pressing into the village.
As you move forward, now entering the village of Barovia proper, you look all about to see most of the windows are shuttered with drawn curtains. Many of them are boarded up on the lower levels. Some even are covered in metal bars. But there is no one stirring within, at least from your vantage point, as the mist rolls along the sullen cobblestone roads of Barovia village. The wailing undulates in volume as you move forward, though it persists.
All right. And does it sound like the wailing's coming from a building or outside?
It's muffled. There are times where it sounds nearly imperceivable, as if it were inside of a building. There are other times when it sounds louder, as if it were on the street or near an open door or window.
Gotcha. I will continue pressing on. I'll be looking down the alleyways and peering into, windows and such like that.
What a grim place.
No, it looks
no
like...
warm welcomes? No music in the air?
There is not. There is not. It is cold. It is quiet. It is mid-afternoon, and it is very misty here.
From
What
that...
a dirt hill.
Hear it.
From that letter that we just read, what did you expect?
Executioner is down. That's James.
As I hear the word music, the air sighs, just like, fine, if you wish to hear me perform, I'll perform, and starts playing a lively, upbeat music with this flute.
I'll immediately pull the flute down from his lips and be quiet. You don't want to stir whatever is sleeping here until we figure out what it is.
How do we know they're sleeping? The windows are all boarded up. And I go over and try to look through a window.
Yeah, okay, roll me a D20, please.
Okay. Just a raw D20, eh?
Mm-hmm.
There it is, 13.
Yeah, you look in through the cracks between the windows, and you can see, like, the silhouette of, like, figures moving around within, beyond curtains.
Yeah, there's people in here. I'm gonna knock on the window.
I'll walk up to Tormund and be like, will you stop that?
There's no answer, but all the movement inside suddenly ceases as you tap on the window.
We found your dead boy in the woods.
I will pull Tormund back off their porch and be like, Tormund, stop it. Let's continue on and find the actual an inn or something.
What kind of people hide in their houses like cowards?
I'll smack him on the back of the helmet.
I'm gonna catch that hand with the dead body. I'm just gonna be. He's gonna smack that body, not the helmet.
And I'm
Okay.
It's like a shield. I'm using it like a shield.
At the last moment, the dwarf turns, and you get a handful of corpse ass instead of his helmet.
I'll wipe my hand on his tunic and I'll go, you must be respectful. Come on, let's go.
Awesome. As you move forward, you come to a crossroads in the road. The mournful, sorrowful wailing continues from the west. To the north, you can see some few feet ahead of you and hear the sound of a small foot cart moving northward along the road, away from you. From time to time, you hear an old woman's voice, now coming forth from the cart, saying, "Meat pies! Get your meat pies!"
Well, let us go ask this vendor what's going on. We'll go north.
All right.
At the word meat pies, I'm already heading that way.
Wonderful. You move forward, and you come to a woman, an old woman, who is pushing forward a cart, and atop the cart are a good 20 to 30 like personal, like pot pie size pies, and some of them even still have steam coming off of them. She doesn't immediately respond to your approach from behind. I assume you're all walking with, hard boots on cobblestones.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And she just moves forward, continuing to attempt to hawk her wares to the empty streets. But as you do approach, and as you get within 5 feet of her, the cart comes to a stop, and she turns to face you. She's an older woman, well into probably her 7th decade, if, by our standards of what an old person would look like. But she has a big, warm smile on her face. And her clothing is like a patchwork assortment of various bits of bright fabric sewn onto a plain woolen base.
Excuse me, my lady.
The woman turns and you can see her kind of cloudy eyes meet yours, and she says, "Oh, yes, my dear. Have you come for some meat pies? The best in Barovia?"
I will smile and I'll say, we are in search of information of what's going on here.
She says, "Well, you have come to the village of Barovia. It is unfortunately not as lively as it once was."
Yes, what has happened? What has happened among the people here?
She says, "The people here are afraid for their lives. I don't quite understand the hysteria myself. Seems like a perfectly safe place to me."
Interesting. What are they saying that the hysteria is created by?
Well, and as she kind of she turns around and catches you full in the face now, the fog begins to kind of settle off, and a lightning storm off far to the west. There's this lightning strike that just happens to frame up this black silhouette of a massive citadel atop a huge pillar stone right above, towering over the village of Barovia to the west. And she just happens to glance over it towards it for a quick second before taking up your gaze once more. And she replies, she says, "Well, many of the occupants here don't take too kindly to Count Strahd von Zorovich's government style. They seem to blame the good Lord for their own misfortune.
I see.
May I interest you in a meat pie, my dear?" And she reaches down and picks up one of them with these long kind of dangly fingernails, the ones that got a bit of the fungus on them,
Yeah.
She turns it around and she holds it up to you in kind of trembling hands.
What meat do you have in these meat pies?
Ooh, she says, "Only the best, my dear. Family secret, I'm afraid." And she gives you a wink. But they are quite popular.
I would oblige, but I am quite fine, thank you very much. Maybe one of my party members, but...
"And you, dear?" And she kind of shuffles past you now as she comes up on you, Klug, seeing you kind of eyeing her pies with a wateriness to your mouth there. She reaches forward and offers it up. She says, "Only 1 gold piece, my dear. A perfectly reasonable price for such a beautiful confection, I'd say."
I look watering mouth at these pies and go, "I haven't had a chance to sell the rings I got. Does anybody else want any pie?"
Oh no, no, no. I'm quite.
Oh, thank you, darling. I had my dinner earlier.
Can I borrow a few gold coins? I'll pay you back when I sell this ring.
I've got you covered.
Has to see this through.
Alright. Tatos, how many pies are you willing to lend me?
They're gold apiece, yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, dear.
Mm,
Yeah.
Pretty steep for a pie, but I think they're
Mm.
going to be worth it.
Best pies in Barovia.
probably also the only. I'd say 2 would be about where I'm looking.
All right. I will take your 2 gold coins with a head bob and a grin. And I'll tell you, as soon as I sell this ring, I turn around and I give her the 2 gold coins and wait for my pie.
Oh, 2, dear. Yes, of course. She hands you the one in her hand, and then she turns around and kind of shuffles her way back to her cart and brings you the second.
I take it and say, thank you very much. And immediately take a bite, go, Tatos, did you want some? Tatos?
Yeah, I think I do. Yeah.
I'd hand him the other pie.
And I'll
I will take a bite out of it, very hesitantly.
You see the woman. You see the woman's looking straight at you, Tatos, and she's just got a nice warm smile on her face. She's watching you eat. She's like, yes, very good, is it not? And it is. It's quite delicious. It tastes like a perfectly fresh, delicious meat pie.
I'm
the
about
style of meat tastes familiar.
Yeah,
yeah.
sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it seems like it might be like a pork roast pie, perhaps.
Pork roast.
Long pork roast style.
Just pork. Tastes like pork.
Gotcha.
Maybe like chicken.
yeah. I'm halfway through my pie. It's like, yeah, maybe, it may be chicken. Yeah, it's good. It's good.
You know, I know a bunch of people you'd be very popular with.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Well, enjoy your pie there, dear.
Do you sell many to Hannibal Lecter?
I'm afraid I've never met the man, dear.
Shame.
Perhaps he's from another place.
Anywho,
Time.
now since we have partaken in your wares, would you mind giving us a little more information, ma'am?
Oh, of course. I've got all the time in the world, except for the pies are getting cold.
Then I will be quick.
Perhaps you should keep your questions short.
Where is the burgomaster?
Oh, she kind of like looks down sullenly for a moment and does some kind of holy symbol to the Morning Lord across her chest and looks back up and says, "Oh dear, I'm assuming you're referring to the senior,
Yes.
and not that Ismark the Lesser that has replaced him." She spits on the ground. She says, "Well, I'm afraid the poor burgomaster has passed on from this world.
How long ago?
It was not but a few nights, I'd say."
Where can we find the new burgomaster?
Oh, Ismark the Lesser. Probably in his cups at the inn.
Interesting.
Was the old one's name Indrovich?
Yes, as is the new.
Is the new one Kolyan?
I'm afraid not. That would be the senior.
Thank you, my lady. And we'll, I'll give her a little bow and I'll start heading towards the way that she gestured that I could find the new one.
Executioner James.
Xavier looks to the woman and turns back to the body that Tormund is carrying. Sorry for the unpleasant sight and the god-awful stench. But do you by chance recognize this poor unfortunate fellow?
I'm gonna tilt the skull kind of off my neck and
Hmm. Yeah, give me 1 second here. She kind of like looks, and she gets up close. She says, "My eyes aren't as good as they used to be, I'm afraid. Let me get a little closer." She kind of looks up and she takes out, one of her like pointer finger, and she moves some of his hair aside with her long, scraggly fingernail. And she says, that looks like the Olensky boy. I believe he served as the late burgomaster's messenger.
and where does his family reside?
Ooh. She kind of scowls a little bit. She says, I'm afraid the Olensky boy was the last of his kin.
Oh, what happened to the rest of his kid?
Illness, I'm afraid. She smiles.
Illness.
Yes, many here fall prey to the melancholy that this land seems to pervade.
And where are the bodies processed?
Oh, she says the good priest of Morning Lord Donovich maintains the church and graveyard, though there hasn't been any services for quite some time.
I'll glance at the pies and
Nor
back up to her.
funerals, for that matter.
Again, I'll glance at the pies and look back up her, and I'll go, of course.
Are you sure, dear? You do look rather peckish.
I'm sorry, but while traveling, my stomach is quite fine. On a light
There's nothing
lunch.
better than Morgantha's dream pastries.
And I'm sure that I know exactly where to find you when I come back hungry.
Very well. Well, these pies aren't going to sell themselves, my dears.
Best of luck with your sales.
Before you leave, where is it that we can find you when we want to get more?
Well, I will be here in Barovia for some time, and then I imagine I will travel west to Vallaki. I rarely go all the way to Kursk. It is far too out of the way.
I'll be on my way to where the burgomaster is.
All right, so you're gonna start making your way. Where?
She gestured in a general direction, didn't she?
Oh yeah, to the west.
Yeah. So I'll come back. I'll probably just come back down the main stretch. I'm sure that the burgomaster's.
All right, the woman returns to her cart, begins wheeling it towards the north, and as she makes it to the next house, she wheels her cart up to it and begins knocking on the door, hawking her wares door by door. And the rest of you, are you going to also return to your search for the burgomaster, or did you all want to do something else?
I will roam around the city.
Okay, you're going to go roaming?
I'm going to look for a shop.
Okay. Which direction are you going to roam in?
I'm going to follow the pie lady.
Okay, awesome. So you're kind of trailing the pie lady?
Yes.
I'll go with, because I have some stuff I want to sell.
Okay, cool. So the two of you are going to head north, following the pie lady.
I want to keep an eye on the pie lady. You said she's going door to door. Are they opening up for her?
They are, yeah.
What are the appearances of the people that are opening the doors?
Yeah, okay. So the Barovians look like a sullen lot. I'll get you a little idea.
Oh, wow.
And Also, I suppose I can open up the Barovian architecture for you to give you an idea of what you're dealing with house-wise.
There you go. Victorian.
All human so far that you've noticed. Now, when you're trailing Morgantha and her pastry cart, are y'all like making yourselves noticed, or are you trying to just sort of like, you know, keep your distance and watch? What are you doing?
I was
not
going through
walking.
and just watching, just to see a couple of houses. Then I'm going to take off and take a run after Sir Davish and catch up with them.
Okay.
I'm just gonna walk close to her, bow to her, and say, "It's a pleasure to meet you, ma'am," and then go on my way to look for a shop.
Okay. And you, Klug?
Yeah, I'm just kind of walking casually, more or less feel like acting like it's normal town, being a visitor.
Okay. All right, so you're all gonna walk towards the north, and we'll just zip you up here real quick and then back. And the rest of you are gonna walk towards the south and the west, back towards the sounds of the wailing. Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, I'm gonna stick with the group that seems on the original objective.
Okay. Excellent. All right.
I'm gonna take a moment and ditch the body behind one of the houses.
Okay.
Wow!
You're gonna drop the body behind one of the houses. Go ahead and make me another D20 roll.
No reason there.
No reason. No reason at all.
Oh!
Oh, that's neat.
Let me just see.
Oh.
Let me just see.
I'll be witnessing you doing
Bad
this.
could it be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be witnessing you doing this.
Yeah, no, you drop the body off in the alley in between two of the houses, and you notice nothing as you peer through a window that is unshuttered and uncovered. As a matter of fact, the glass is broken, and you can see into an empty house.
Oh, really?
And then yes.
I kind of use my shield to smash the broken glass down and
Mm-hmm.
investigate the window further.
Yeah. It just opens up into a single room living space. There's a kitchen off to one side, a dining room table. There's a pretty thick layer of dust all over everything. It looks as though
Your eyes are better than mine. What do you make of this?
Didn't you break off on the other group going the other direction
No, I'm
after
with
the
you.
cart?
I'm with you.
Oh, okay.
I just
In that
paused
case-
to drop a body in an alleyway
In that
as
case,
we're traveling.
I hear you holler, and I walk down the alleyway there to see what it is your request is. What's that you needed, man?
This house appears abandoned. What do you make
Yeah.
of it?
What do I make of it? Oh, let me have a look here real quick.
oh yeah.
It looks like an empty house.
A nice 10 perception. Looks like an empty house. Yeah, you actually do notice, like, across, there's a smear on the ground in the kind of the middle of the main shared living chamber on the base floor. There's a stair that goes up, and there's a smear that's heading off and towards the front door that you can kind of see from your angle in the alley.
Yeah, it looks like an empty house. They could use a maid, I'm sure, but that's a pretty empty house if I ever seen one.
Anything specific?
No, these are all real nice houses.
Bummer. Well, I hoped there might be some nice jewels or something in there.
Nothing that catches my eye.
Oh well.
Oh well, I'm sorry. Sorry I couldn't be of more help, friend.
Nah, it's all good. One man's trash, another man's treasure. Let's be on our way.
Excellent. So y'all make it out into the main square of this small township of Barovia. To the south, you can see a large establishment. There's a shingle hanging above the door that reads, Bill Draft's Mercantile. The sobbing is coming from somewhere beyond that building to the south. To the north, you can see another large building, a multi-floored establishment, and above it hangs a shingle. The shingle reads, Blood on the Vine Tavern. You, Tormund, notice that the sign itself appears to have been defaced and once said Blood of the Vine, but has since had the F scratched out and replaced by an N to read Blood on the Vine.
What a welcoming place.
Hmm.
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And I'm going to go into the tavern.
I guess we should go with him so he doesn't get himself killed. I'll walk in after him.
I'll follow close in tow.
Okay.
I'm
All
going
right.
to take a look around, and I think I want to head down to the. No, yeah, I'll follow afterwards.
Okay, so you all are going to the tavern?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to place you at the tavern real quick. I'm going to use your all's party token to work with the other members real fast.
Sure.
All right, so we're going to go back up over here. Bloop. All right, as you're all moving to the north, you hear Morgantha continue as you pass her to hawk her wares. And just as you're about to turn the corner and begin heading to the west, you hear a bit of an argument break out from this house behind. Do you continue on or do you stop to investigate?
Curiosity gets the better of Xavier, and he goes back to the corner to peer around the corner to silently and stealthily look and observe what the situation is.
All right, make me a stealth roll, please. Okay, you got a stealth of 4?
Oh, so stealthy.
Roll a D4, nice.
You
Half
see,
of that came from a mod.
you see Morgantha, the old lady, is standing at the door of this building, of this house. She's got one hand on the wrist of a child, and she's kind of struggling with the occupants of the building with that child. When you come and you creep up against the side of whatever building you're trying to get a peek at from behind, you accidentally kick a can that was littering the road, like an old bit of metal or something. I guess they don't have cans in this area. You kick a rock and it skitters out across the cobblestones. And when it does so, you see the old lady's head like snap over towards your direction, her eyes gleaming in the light of the candles from inside the house. And in that moment, she scowls and she just she lets go, and you can kind of see her mouth something to the occupants of the house. And then they slam their door, and she kind of like hobbles back, looking rather disappointed to her cart, and begins moving back up the street, now not paying any attention or mind to you at all.
Satisfied with my curiosity, Xavier sits there, says nope, and turns around the corner and goes the other way.
All right, so you return to Klug, who is at this moment probably still making her way down that side road towards the west. Klug, how are you doing on that pastry you were munching on?
Oh, I finished it within before we even left that person.
Okay, well, we're going to have you finish it right now.
Okay, I finish it.
You finish it. Wonderful. Roll me a Constitution saving throw, please. All right.
Ooh.
Strong
Penny.
stomach.
Yeah. So you're starting to feel real satisfied. You're starting to feel real good. And the gloominess of this place doesn't seem nearly as bad anymore. It doesn't seem like nearly as bad of a place. And you start to feel kind of sleepy. But you push through it.
Nice. Food coma.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good. I keep
All right.
walking up the road.
Now, I believe that Tatos also
Took a bite.
took. Now, what did you do with your pastry? Did you finish it off? Did you?
Oh, hell no. Once I
didn't
wasn't given a straight answer on what the meat was, I stopped.
Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. What'd you do with it?
It's currently in my pocket,
Okay. Cool.
in the pouch.
All right. So the party to the north. You make your way westward through the village of Barovia. You cannot see any signs of business. There are some boutiques and shops. There is what was a blacksmith setup within this alley nook. However, everything is boarded up. Nothing is open, and there's no business being done in this area of town. You can see opening up to the west a hill that leads up to a low stone wall.
Well, what do you say? Should we turn around to the party or continue on? I feel great. I'm willing to go another mile.
Xavier looks in his mirror and back to Klug, and in a soft and not harsh in tone whatsoever, saying we should probably grab the party if we want to continue on further. Who knows what lies in this town? In fact, I think we should go find them if this place is as boarded up as it is in this area. So I think we should. It'll be a good idea and benefit us both if we return to them.
I give Xavier an appreciative look, kind of up and down, and go, "You're smart. I like you." And just kind of keep bobbing my head because I'm just feeling great.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Xavier, are you going to kind of lead your split party back in the general direction of the directions you were given towards the inn
Yes.
by Morgantha earlier?
Yes.
All right, so you're going to make your way through the streets, and eventually you'll make it, following the sounds of the crying to the main square, and be able to find the tavern of the same description that I gave the other party. At the time that occurs, I will let you know. Until then, we will rejoin the others inside. You open the door to find a sparse few occupants huddled about the inn's main chamber. A large room that, despite the roaring fire, still boasts a bit of a chill. There is a table with 3 hush-mouthed drunkards well in their cups. There's a table with 3 colorfully dressed women that share ethnic similarities with the man you met before you arrived in Barovia. And yes, I think that covers everything. There is a single man in fine clothing, sitting in a corner table by himself near the fire. And there is a barman who is kind of slack-jawed and expressionless, short and pudgy fellow who is sort of absent-mindedly working a dirty rag into his various cups and tankards. there is a stair upwards to what you assume would be lodging. And there's a door behind the bar where you assume some food may be provided.
I'll go to the barman.
I don't know about you guys, but I could go for a drink myself. Those biscuits were fantastic, but boy, am I parched.
I'll clap you on the back. I'll clap you on the back and be like, "Be my guest," and I'll kind of outstretch my arm and let him go first.
And I'll step up to the barman there and say, "What's your house special today?"
He looks over and he says, "I sell wine, fine sir."
Wine? That's it? No ales, no beverages, no water?
He kind of looks at you like as if he's looking past you or through you, and then as he doesn't break in his cleaning of the glass that he's currently working on, as he replies, "I have wine for sale, sir. May I interest you in a glass or a pitcher?"
Well, if wine's all you have, I'm gonna have to pass on that. I only drink wine to celebrate, and I've got nothing to celebrate today.
"A glass of wine it is, then. That will be
No.
1 copper piece, sir."
I don't want your wine. You can take that and put it away.
Says, "Very well. Will it be a room, then?"
I look back to the other guys and shrug my shoulders, shaking my head.
I'll go, "How much for a room, good sir?"
He looks over to you and he says, "Under normal circumstances, it would be 10 silver pieces, but I'm afraid we're all full."
I'll look around the inn and I'll look back to him and said, "Of course you are."
Seer is down. That is Emery.
While they are at the bar, I make my way immediately to the fine-dressed man in the corner.
All right. I want to address something real quick before we get into that. Now, Tados, how do you look right now?
If you could see the picture that I've got on my profile, I do have a hood, cloak on, but it's not covering me. It's
You're
not covering my head.
You're out and open. Okay. All right. All right. So, I'm gonna trigger a little something here. So the group of 3 drunkards sitting at the table. Now, immediately upon you coming into the room, Tados, you notice what you've probably noticed for most of your life, that you have garnered quite a bit of attention. The only person who doesn't seem to be particularly interested in you is the barman himself, whether that be because he is distracted or otherwise. You're not for sure. However, there is a much higher general sense of alarm in the room than even you're used to in this place. And you're getting a lot of fearful sideways glances from the 3 drunkards sitting, and there are the 3 colorful folks looking back are also still looking at you, but they're more looking at you more out of interest than in fear. The young man, the finely dressed young man that Tormin is currently walking towards, is eyeing you with interest. However, his attention does flick over towards the dwarf as he makes his advance. The young man reaches beneath the table with his right hand as you approach. And you hear, with your fine perception, as you're moving across the door, I'm sorry, as you're moving across the room, you hear the three drunkards speaking in hushed slurred tones amongst themselves, make some kind of remark about a demon, some kind of remark about a devil, and one of them says something about his cousin going missing just last week. But
Does
as
it look like they're in a combative drunken state or more of a passive drunken state?
they look fearful. They look like men who've spent far too long in fear. They're malnourished. They have deep sunken pits under their eyes, and they are of a poor ilk. They're dressed.
What do they have on the table in front of them?
They've got a couple tankards, and there is a hatchet that has been angrily sunken into the table about 1.5 inches, sitting in front of one of them, the largest of the three, which is by no means a giant of a man.
Okay. I'm going to give them their leeway as much as I can around them. I'm going to go up to the bar
Mm-hmm.
and keep. Aside from the wine, what is it that those three gentlemen are having?
He looks over to you and says, "They're drinking wine, sir. Would you have some?" But I'm going to switch off of that scene. Do you have something? You want to take that somewhere, or can I go to Tormund?
Go ahead.
Okay. Tormund, you approach the gentleman sitting at the table alone. His right hand is now slipped below. His left is still idly spinning his flagon of wine.
As friendly as I can muster for a dwarf, Indirovich, is that you? We're looking for you.
The man looks up. You clearly he recognizes the name as his. You can see the recognition in his face. And he looks up at you.
Are you Colian's son?
And kind of looks with a bit of a questioning gaze. He says, "Yes, the late burgomaster was indeed my father."
Well, my companion over there, Sir Diavish, found a letter on a man in the woods that had the mark of the burgomaster and your father's name in the signature line.
And you can see there now as you approach.
And I would question you as to the contents of that letter, if you would allow.
He says, "Of course. Let me see the missive." As he idly taps his ring finger against the metal of his pewter glassware, you can see there he's wearing the signet ring with the B emblazoned on it.
Fellows, the pie seller was correct. I found Indirovich. He's over here at this table.
I'll turn and I'll kind of nod to the barkeep and I'll immediately walk over.
Me too.
And I'll put my closed fist against my chest and I'll bow and I'll say, "Hail, I am sorry to hear of your loss."
The man looks to you, almost a bit of a brief bit of respite or relief crosses his face. He smiles a little bit and he says, "It's been a long time since I laid my eyes on a fellow gentleman."
I'll chuckle and I'll...
Sit, sir. What might I call you?
Thank you, and I'll bow again, and I'll take a seat as he instructed, and I'll say, my name is Davish, Sir Davish, in fact, and I come on the errand of your late father, actually, and I will unfold both letters, and I'll put them on the table and slide them towards him.
He reaches forward, pulling up his right hand from beneath the table to do so. Reaches forward with a bare hand and pulls the 2 documents forward. He reads one, and you could see his eyes begin to well up. He sets it down. He reads the other, and his eyes begin to harden. His jaw sets. You can see that he's grinding his teeth. And he crumples it in fury as he finishes it. Sets it back down on the table. Takes a deep breath and a long pull from his glass before composing himself. He says, "And where did you come by these 2 missives, good sir?"
One.
The boy, the boy of no family. He was dead in the woods, mauled by a beast. Carrying
Your father's courier. And I'll point to, I'm assuming, the crumpled message.
It's actually the other.
Oh. I'll point
The
to
other.
the uncrumpled message. And I'll say, and this one we gained from a gentleman named Arigel, far outside of this area.
This is strange. There are not many within Barovia that can leave. Perhaps one of the Vistani, he says under his breath almost. Then he shakes his head and says, "No matter. It seems that you have come upon a fool's errand, for my father did not write that," as he points to the crumpled up note.
I'll cock an eyebrow and I'll say, indeed, then who would have written a false missive of help?
See, he leans forward in and he says, "No doubt, an agent of the devil Strahd himself."
I'll nod and I'll withdraw the letter that was left in the basket and I'll say, this Strahd, and I'll put it on the table.
As you say, as you invoke his name, like clearly, like you hear some audible gasps from the table with the 3. And at that point, their fear gets the better of them, and they quickly get up and vacate the bar, leaving behind the hatchet in their haste.
I'll kind of look behind me and I'll look around and I'll look towards him again and cock an eyebrow as in like, what was that about type thing.
He says, "The fine people of my township, my father's township, now mine, they fear the devil Strahd above all else. To invoke his name openly is quite terrifying to many of them."
I meant no offense. I do apologize.
Says, "I take no offense, good sir."
I'll say, what has happened here?
Says, "Well, these past many nights, our township has come under siege. At night, the servants of the devil, they come in mass. They seek out my sister, my beloved Irina. For I believe Strahd has chosen her to be his next bride." Or he says the devil, calls him the devil.
Yeah.
He crumpled the one that said to lock the town and put the
No, the
symbols
other one.
everywhere? Or the one that said, "There's
No.
much wealth, I'll offer it to anybody who comes."
Yeah, so the first message you received before you arrived in Barovia is the message that just got crumpled up.
Okay, so the one offering all the town's wealth has been crumpled, and the
It
one
has. And he is,
instructing to
and he is
give up for
prompt.
dead and encircle them with holy
Yes.
circle. Okay.
Yes. He's saying that those are the words of his father, and that indeed the other ones were fraudulent.
I'll say, and what of this? I'll kind of cough and devil. What has he done?
Says he has already visited himself upon my dear sister Irina twice. As the legends go, he need but bite her once more to claim her as his bride. He sends his wolves and his children and his twisted abominations, those who were dead once but walk again. He sends them against us, night and night again. They rail against our manor house, but yet it holds. For whatever reason, it is as if he toys with us. Perhaps it was his wishes all along to cost my dear father his life from the stress.
As he
I
says,
look him-
and dead, you'll see my fist clench on the table. Go ahead, Kalman.
I look him dead in the eye, intending on measuring the man himself, as I say, well, if this is indeed true and the letter urging us for help is false and a forgery, then we have no further business with you, good and Burgermaster-elect, and, well, or whatever the word is for the guy who has befallen the position and not been elected.
Inherit.
Inherit, sure.
Yeah, he's the burgomaster for all intents and purposes, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. And I suppose we should be on our way.
You can see he's only partially listening to you as he is once again reading the words of his late father. But then as you make your point, you can tell that it dawns on him what you're saying, and he looks down at the paper one last wistful time and sets it down and kind of makes a fist with that left hand as if making some kind of resolution internally, and he says, "No, father, I will not give up hope as you did. There must be a way to save our arena. You, Sir Davish, would you serve us after all, even though it was lies that brought you here? Ours is a noble house, and my Irina, she does not deserve to be the slave of the devil."
As a knight of the Eternal Order and a paladin, Kelimvor, I will serve you.
He kind of looks at you and he kind of squares himself up, takes on a bit of a regal pose. You can tell that he's not particularly well practiced at holding office.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, he's reacting to your pledge, but he says, "Very well, sir. I accept your pledge."
And as I study him,
Well, the 20.
does it
Nice
seem
roll.
truth? Does he seem brave? Is he truly tanking up this mantle that he puts upon himself, or is it a sham?
Well, you can see what you see is a man who has made the decision to step out of the shadow of his father.
Okay.
That's what you see in this moment
Okay.
with your beautiful insight. This is a man that's full of doubt, but yet is also full of bravery.
So I will stand up and I will say, the power of Kelimvor will shadow our quest. The dead may lie dead again, and the living may prosper in the world that was gifted to them. And I swear unto thee, Burgomaster, I will fight for this justice. And as that happens, my eyes start glowing a celestial gold, and you can see my wings appear almost ethereal out of my back.
What?
And just this broadcast of what I truly am displaying to the Burgomaster
Oh, wow.
to make the pledge of, yes, I will help them. And
Alright.
and then they kind of settle down as the pledge ends, and I'll resume my seat, and I'll say, it is official.
This is very well. Then off the first order of business, my friend, is to get Irina to a safe place. She must leave the village of Barovia immediately. The Burgomaster of Vallaki owed my father a favor, and I intend to call upon him in this manner.
I will say very well, and I'll throw this map down on the table. And I'll say, pardon me, sir, for the blood on it. Where can you point towards we will be taking your sister?
Yes, and he will mark your map for you.
Oh, perfect.
It is Vallaki, it is central, right below Lake Zarovich.
Is that, oh, I see. Vallaki, I see it right there. Yeah. Okay. Alright, perfect. And I'll say, it would go a lot faster with steeds, if you have any to spare.
He shakes his head and he says, Wine I can spare. Horses, I'm afraid we have none.
Very grim times indeed.
He says, Indeed. With the land having turned fallow, long ago, the horses fell to our hungry blades.
You do what you can to survive, I understand.
He says, yes, indeed, but enough of this gloom. We shall have wine. We shall celebrate your dedication to my cause, sir. And then we shall be off to meet Irina.
I'll turn to the group and I'll say, will you all embark on this quest with me? We've been together a short time, but I feel like we've grown so close going through that manor house.
Well, it's what we came for in the first place, so I suppose, though it's been a roundabout sort of manner, teach a man to fish and all that, I'm in.
I'll put my hand on your shoulder, and I'll look to the rest of you.
Oh, very dejected that the guys ran out of the bar before I could buy him drinks. Yeah, yeah, I might as well.
Fantastic. The rest of you, what say you?
This is about the time that Klug and Xavier enter the establishment.
As Xavier opens the door aggressively, making a lot of noise, he waves his hair back and forth in a beautiful manner, winking at everybody that's just standing in the bar, walking over towards the bartender, leaning up against his back up against the bar, and turns to the bartender and asks for any rumors he had heard.
Okay. All right. Give me a second here. That's cute. Meanwhile, the rest of the party is forming Captain Planet over here. We're gonna take a quick segue to You're a Rumor.
What's say? Hey, barkeep, you got any good rumors?
We are. We're
Well, I
gonna
hear there's a whole bunch of guys that are about to take off.
hear. We're gonna hear a rumor.
All right,
We're
let's
gonna
hear a rumor.
rumor.
Let's hear a rumor, man.
All right. All right. He turns and he says. He says. He says, "Yes, ma'am. I know a rumor too. I've heard that many strangers have been drawn to Barovia over the years, but they all die or disappear before long."
Not hearing past ma'am, he stares with like a menacing glare at the barkeep, his hand on the hilt. What did you call me?
I called you ma'am.
Let's get one thing straight. I am not a ma'am. I am a beautiful man.
He says, "As you please, ma'am."
Oh,
He's just kind of looking at you with this kind of distant, kind of sort of half-focused stare.
I'm going to size him up, look him up and down, and inspect him without touching him. I'm curious of why he is so half there.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Go ahead and make an insight roll.
It was the meat pies.
Okay, an insight of 12. There's certainly something uncannily missing about the individual, though you can't really put your finger on it. You haven't necessarily ever encountered anything quite like this before. There's something wrong with this man. That's clear.
I don't think there's something right with this barkeep. And I turn to the party. Has anybody noticed anything odd about this man?
In fact, he's able to tolerate you is the first thing I noticed.
There is a laugh, a shrill laugh coming from the table with the three colorfully dressed women. That. Meanwhile, Sir Davish is rallying the party together for an epic quest.
Yes. Yes.
I walk up next to where Tatos is sitting and said, "Watch yourself, Tatos. You don't want to make an enemy of me."
Then
You
why
walk
not
up-
an ally? Come along with the quest, and I'll clasp your shoulder. I'll say, we could use a man of your skill.
Yeah.
Fine, I shall tag along with you.
Very well. Let us drink to seal our alliance. He says, he screams out, or he sort of yells out. He says, "Arik, around for the table."
He holds his hand up. He's like, "Don't bother with the barkeep." And he pulls out his own bottle of wine he took from the basket. This is the finer stuff.
Oh,
Barkeep, having heard the burgomaster's order, doesn't wait to listen to your statements, and instead says, "Yes, burgomaster, at once," and begins busying himself, pouring pitchers of wine from casks. All the while, the three women sitting at the table haven't taken their eyes off of Sir Davish since his reveal, other than to make what little remarks that they have. And you join the table. You bring out your wine. How much do you have? Oh, you've got the good bottle?
Yeah, the good bottle.
Oh, yeah. You see Ismark's eyes go wide when he sees it, and he says, "Oh, quite the fine vintage, sir." And he just splashes the contents of his cup into the fire and slides it across the table towards you.
I will pick up the glass and swish my hair backwards. Why, you could have some of this. This is so much better than the junk you had in this glass.
Mm.
And I'll pour it and I'll slide the cup back over.
Yeah.
With the flourish. Don't add it was with a flourish.
With a flourish.
Yeah. He swirls the glass and takes a sip. Working it across his tongue, he smiles and swallows. He says, "A fine offering, sir. And what might be your name?"
My name is Xavier, soon to be the most famous.
I'm afraid you've come to the wrong place, Xavier, if you seek fame.
I see that. This place is so run down. No shop in sight and no stage for my glory.
Perhaps you will find better prospects in Vallaki.
Vallaki? I've never heard of that. Where
Yes.
would that?
Your fine companions have just agreed to escort my dear sister Irina there.
Then what are we waiting for on to Vallaki?
He says, he sort of like tisks a little bit, like shakes his head. He says, "I'm afraid the night will be upon us soon. It is best that we rest through the eve."
Yes, and will you be able to provide lodging for us?
Of course, you are our esteemed guests.
Much
I'm
obliged.
sure Irina will be delighted to make your acquaintance. She is such a curious woman. So he'll drink with you all. He'll answer, any kind of questions you might have in general, as best as he can. If you have any, you can ask him out of character to me at this point. At any point, you can scene in and do something else in the bar. But I'm going to zoom out a little bit here to wrap up things with the meeting of Ismark Indirovich.
Mhm.
And at the end of this sequence, should you allow, he will offer to take you to his lodgings.
I would want to ask what he knows about the devil or Strahd, if anything else he hasn't told us.
What he knows about Strahd.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Just get him. Right. And too many handouts. He says in your discussions, he speaks of the nature of Strahd as a vampire, and he speaks of what he believes that means. He talks about how a vampire can't enter a residence without an invitation from one of the occupants. He says that he's heard that running water burns a vampire like acid, and sunlight can cause them to burst into flame. And he relates to you the rumor that a vampire must rest in his coffin during the day, and at night it can summon vermin, wolves, and undead to do its bidding. That a vampire can transform into a bat, a wolf, or a cloud of mist. And a vampire can charm you with its powerful gaze. These are the beliefs about Strahd von Zarovich and his form that he shares with you.
Mm-hmm.
He would say that his people have been here for hundreds of years, living under the rule of this creature, and that few recall life in any other way.
Interesting. Okay. I think that's about the questions I have. Anybody else?
Do we hear or see anything else from the three women over in the other table?
Yeah, they're kind of okay. Well, I'll give you a full account of kind of what they did while the conversation was going on, because you were at the bar and you were kind of watching the room, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and you can have bought those villagers wine. They'll still leave at the sound of Strahd's name, but they'll also kind of like begrudgingly accept the tankards that you send their way. However, they don't make eye contact with you, and they certainly don't show any sense of being friendly as a result. They seem almost more afraid after the gift than before they storm out.
Okay.
The three women sitting at the table, they're watching you very intently until they see Sir Davish do what Sir Davish does, and then their attention turns to him. You see a lot of like whispering amongst themselves during those few moments. Then there's some kind of quick disagreement at the table, and then they go back to silently watching before the revelry re-enters the room, at which point they start snickering and teasing amongst themselves as they had been prior to the conversation starting. And that's kind of how that whole thing unfolded from that corner of the bar.
Okay. The other thing is I want to go over and wedge that axe out of that table that the three guys left behind.
Okay, that's a hand axe. It's yours. Anything else from anybody? I'm going to take a break here once we're all ready to move on.
No, I think I'm good.
Klug, I have completely lost appetite here. I'm going to hand Klug the rest of my pie.
I'm going to stop him. And I'm going to take the pie and I'm going to say, I think it's best if no one eats these.
Xavier smiles and looks at each one of the party members. You know, I saw the most peculiar thing while we were out.
What's that?
There was an argument on the street corner where that woman was selling pies, and she grabbed a child by the wrist and was trying to pull him away, or her. I didn't catch what the gender was of the child, but for some undisclosed reason, the woman looked in my direction, and I could not discover anything else about the scenario.
Interesting. And I'll look at the pie again, and I'll say, do you have any insight onto these pies, Burgermaster?
Oh, he says, I'm assuming that's one of Morgantha's dream pastries, then. He says, yes, the townsfolk have been enjoying those for generations. Morgantha has been coming through Barovia for many years with her wares. Never seen any reason to question her.
Klug, it's yours if you want it.
They seem to bring a bit of respite to our weary lives. I don't partake myself, but many who do say that the dreams one has after ingesting a pastry of Morgantha's are divine in their pleasantness, and that it leaves one feeling light-hearted.
Interesting. That makes me uneasy.
Everything makes you uneasy.
Things that alter my mental status make me uneasy.
Ismark kind of like leans in across the table towards you, Sir Davish, and says, "Sir, do you make a habit of traveling with demons?"
I'll look at him and I'll say, there's nothing that this man has done that has made me mark him as a demon.
He says, "Be that as it may, sir, I would have you know that Vallaki is not like the township of Barovia.
Mm-hmm.
It is a place of culture and dignity, and a creature of that continence will not be welcome there. I urge you to relate my warning to the beast and have him cover himself."
And I'll say, you mean to Tados, as my eyes glow a little celestially.
He kind of puts both of his hands up and backs away, and he says, "I meant no disrespect, sir. I'm only trying to convey the sentiment of the culture you find yourself in."
And I'll bow my head and I'll say, I respect your warning. Thank you very much. And I will relay this to Tados. Absolutely.
This is fantastic. Then drink. We will return to the manor shortly.
I will cheers him.
Wonderful. All right, we'll take a break there unless anybody has any burning desires, last wishes, any further interactions with the inn for the time being.
No, I think we're good.
Sweet.
All good.
Let's take that
Sounds
break. Let's take that break. Get some water, get some snacks, everybody.
Oh, yeah.